So inside here, I got my siphoning hose, the siphon, the other end to it, just my thermostat, my potential alcohol doohickeys, some gloves. I got in some disinfectant. This is that Star San no rinse. Yes, I am. And then I got the American style light beer. This is the disinfectant. This is some priming sugar. That's just if I don't want to use this priming sugar. Add a little enhancer kit, a strain for when I siphon them off, siphon all the bananas and whatnot off. I'm gonna add bananas to it and make like a banana beer. Should be fun. I'm gonna boil the bananas in that too, so I'm gonna disinfect it and clean that up as well. And then, not the hot sauce, but the bananas, I'm gonna use the riper ones. I think I'm gonna use like 12, maybe 14. Maybe 14 or 16 because they're not the biggest. But these ones are gonna be a lot sweeter, so I'm gonna use these for the help with the alcohol strength, right? Because it's a light beer. So the sweetness will bring it up, and then I'm going to use some ones that aren't so ripe so you can keep some of the flavor of the bananas. I'll simmer them on the stove for like half hour and then add them to the fermenting pail, add everything, put it together. I'll show you what I do. So I took 13 bananas, 2 of them were smaller, so I did an extra one, but I wanted 12 large bananas. I depeeled them, cut them up, and I put them in here. The recipe I'm going off, I'll give you a look at it. Come on, focus. So you need 12 bananas. I didn't use the Belgian Pale Ale. You've seen what I used. So yeah, I'm just on the first step here. I'm putting it in a saucepan. Let me scan out. You can pause and read as you need. But just a video I got off a friend or somebody offline. So it called for a liter of water or whatever. I essentially had this dipped inside my disinfectant. So I used that. I filled it up twice, just enough to cover the bananas inside this pot. So we're getting it up to a boil, and we'll let it simmer for half an hour. So after that, I'm gonna mash the hell out of it. The potato masher is in the disinfectant, and you'll see the next step. So they've been boiling for, well, simmering for about 10 minutes now. It's pretty hot. I just grabbed the masher out of the disinfectant. I didn't rinse anything or whatever. It's a Star San no rinse. So I'm just mashing it up a bit. The description didn't say to do that. Meanwhile, I don't want it to burn, or I've been grabbing the whole thing and just shaking it around. But I'll update you here after 30 minutes of simmering. Okay, so I just took the banana mash and so I had it simmering for 30 minutes, mashing it up as I went along. Clean hands, right? Gloves. Everything's disinfected. Everything that's touching anything to do with the product is disinfected. Everything, right? Everything. You don't need to disinfect the water. It's beer. It's not rocket science, so you can use tap water as long as you can drink it. It's good. I'm filling it up to. I dummy marked it there with a line, 5 gallons, with just a 5-gallon water jug, right? So I don't have any measuring to do. I dumped in my can of beer and the mash just now. I just put in about half a pot of water. I'm filling up the rest. I'm gonna stir it up. Once it's full, I'm gonna add the yeast and that other shit. What's it called? This stuff here. Focus. Oh, where are we at? This stuff here, this Pectorize or Pectorize. So after I get it full here, I'm gonna check the temp. After I get it to 5-6 gallons, it says 6 gallons, but I might just, yeah, no, fuck it, I'll keep it at 6 gallons. And then just a matter of letting it sit. I'll show you what's up next. So it's been 5 days. It had like a nice foam on top going. It smells like beer. Here's the banana chunks. I have a filter on my on my little hose here that I'm siphoning my siphon into here. So it's just going in there. I'm straining it rather than straining the other end. That way my equipment stays as cleanly as possible. So it's been 5 days fermenting down in my basement. I'm gonna siphon and clean this liquid as best as possible into this other container. And then I'm gonna leave it for another 2 days. More sediment will fall to the bottom. After that, I'm gonna rack it again into probably this other container here after it's been cleaned and sanitized again after 2 days, and I'll rack it off the sediment that it'll have. After that, I'll add my priming sugar and bottle. 2 weeks after that, we'll have a little update to see how it tastes. Nothing exciting going on, just an update. Alrighty, peace. So I'm gonna put 5 tablespoons of this Oxy San into my 5 tablespoons into 5 gallons of water. I'm gonna soak all my beer bottles in preparation to bottling the banana beer. I'm gonna use a beer priming kit instead of using corn sugar. So I'll show you what it looks like here when I'm done. Okay, so what I had to do so far is I took 5 tablespoons of the Star San, I filled up 5 gallons of water, I soaked, I completely filled each bottle and soaked them up, completely submerged in the Star San or the disinfectant. And I went through each bottle, shaking them out, cleaning the lids underwater with my hands basically in gloves. And then I did half of them, the water was dirty, emptied out the water, did the exact same thing, another 5 tablespoons, another 5 gallons of water, finished them off, went through everything. The water was really dirty, so I went through this half, then this half, and then I filled it up again with another 5 gallons of disinfectant. Quickly did another rinse on all the bottles because they were sitting around and they had dust and all kinds of crap on them. So they're fully disinfected and cleaned. Cleaned the containers as well before I had the bottles in there. Now I'm going to take the priming, sorry, focus here, the beer priming kit, just sugars to carbonate the beer. I'm going to put it inside here. Then I'm going to transfer the beer over into this one. You can see on the bottom there's a little bit of sediment that's settled in the last 2 days since I racked it off from the bananas. So I'll rack it over here, trying to leave all the settlement. I might give up a little bit of the beer, but that's fine. Rack it in here with the priming kit, then put this pail up top on the table and fill all my beer. Show you what it looks like when I'm done. You're gonna leave a little bit of space in each bottle, so I'll bottle up to about here, and yeah, should be good. Alrighty, peace. So I got them all bottled here. I store them downstairs in the basement. If you're smart, doesn't matter if you trust your bottles or not, put a blanket or something on top of them. you want them in the darkness, and if something bursts, at least you're not making a mess. So they'll sit here for 2 weeks. Usually after 10 days I get antsy and I want to try one. Especially I haven't done a banana beer, so kind of wondering what the hell it's going to turn out to be. I had to fill a couple 2-liter pop bottles. I just disinfected them and filled them up. I didn't have enough clean bottles, but it's a good way to test if your beer is actually carbonating, right? These glass bottles, the only way you're telling is if you're opening it. So yeah, don't open them too early. I've done that a few times as well. So yeah, I'll show you what they look like in a few weeks, maybe, if you're lucky.